Hey guys, finally Trump has just secured another huge major Supreme Court win against the Democrat Party. Guys, this is a huge win. The Democrats are making so many huge mistakes. Guys, let me tell you this. You cannot make this up right now. Trump is 16 wins and 0 losses at the Supreme Court level against the Democrats. That is 100% showing you the Democrats are only trying to stall Trump. They know they can't win, and that the Supreme Court is siding with justice and putting America first, baby. Guys, 16 wins, 0 losses is where Trump is at the Supreme Court. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because I'm telling you, we are exposing the Democrats for the fraud that they are. And not only that, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has pushed forward to sue 13 lawmakers that fled the state, not only to remove them from office, but to actually sue them for obstruction in the redistricting of Texas in what they're trying to do. Guys, this is massive. And what I love is that we are seeing wins across the board. America First policies, guys, common sense policies are winning out big time. And not only that, it's like every single day, more evidence is coming out. CNN just admitted, guys, I've got the receipt. CNN admits that the 2020 census undercounted the population in red states and overcounted the population in blue states. Mistakes that cost the GOP at least 5 seats. They say that this is all gerrymandering. They say that this wasn't orchestrated. We know, guys, because all the evidence is coming out that we have been being ripped off by the Democratic Party for a long time. But Trump is making huge moves. Not only did he just appoint Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who's in charge of the Treasury, now is the acting IRS commissioner, and is moving forward to make a huge number of rule changes to simplify the tax code system, make sure that people aren't stealing, make sure that everybody is paying their fair share. Let me know your thoughts on that, guys, because this is huge. Scott Bessent is not only orchestrating deals with all the countries over the tariffs, he's also orchestrating the deals and making things that are actually audit, financial, accounting decisions, good accounting decisions at the Treasury, and now he's going to be in charge of the IRS. This is big stuff. You can tell that Trump trusts this guy big time. And not only that, the Trump RICO case that was created by Bill Barr, new evidence including emails, notes, texts have exposed that they were working in conjunction, Bill Barr and Fani Willis, all in conjunction to target Trump. You had Letitia James, Jack Smith, Fani Willis, the entire Biden DOJ, Merrick Garland. Guys, all these people that conspired against Trump are now being exposed that all this stuff was intentional and targeted. And then you got all these left-wing media outlets that are saying, oh, Trump's targeting all these people. No, he is literally just exposing them for the corruption that they were, using lawfare to try to take out a president who is our president now from campaigning and winning the next election. And guys, this is a big one. This is a big one for Medicare and Medicaid, because I'm telling you guys, RFK, everybody on Trump's team is calling out the corruption. Let me know your thoughts on this. RFK has just called out the huge corruption in the medical industry pertaining to vaccines. Doctors are being paid to vaccines. He said, we recently uncovered that more than 36,000 doctors had their Medicare reimbursements altered based upon childhood vaccination rates. He said, that's not medicine, that's coercion. It's not about whether they need it or not. It's not about whether it's best for the people. They're getting paid. And he says that upwards of the average family practice, over $1 million. Like, if this isn't breaking news over so much dang corruption that has happened. But again, guys, the big breaking news, what I love is that Trump is now 16 wins, 0 losses at the Supreme Court. Nobody is stopping this guy. Guys, jump on the Trump MAGA train because Trump is putting America first and he's making things happen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Guys, we got a big show for you today. I am so excited because, again, it's not just Trump. You got Vance, RFK. You've got Scott Bessent. All of Trump's team, Stephen Miller, are just kicking butt so much to put America first. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers and viewers. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate, guys, when you support our channel just by watching it. But if you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want to serve you every day with the top news. We want to thank everybody who is a member of the channel. Thank everybody that gives a super chat donation. I want to give some special love to Raymond Calhoun Jr., Terry Cook. Y'all show Terry and Raymond some love in the chat. We're so grateful that you support us in our giving. Remember, on the 22nd of every single month, we're donating live on stream to a local charity, and we're so thankful that you support us. And if you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for your support. We have some exclusive news that has just come out. JD Vance is making some big steps with going across every single state to go through and redistrict because, again, they want a huge, massive red wave, everybody. And I promise you that with what we're seeing now, it is going to happen with what you're about to see. Check this out.
You're just back from Indiana. Did you have discussions on redistricting with officials there?
We did. We spoke with the governor, with the Speaker of the House there in Indiana, and the Senate President. And the message I delivered is pretty straightforward. We want a unified Republican team. We want to fight together, win together, make big things happen for the American people, and obviously the people of the state of Indiana together. But one of the things that you see in a lot of red states is blue states have really aggressively gerrymandered such that they've actually made it harder for the majority of the state of Indiana to have their voice heard in their federal elections. Because if California has crazy gerrymanders, Illinois has crazy gerrymanders, New York has crazy gerrymanders, what it does is it actually suppresses the will of the people in states like Indiana. And the other thing that we talked about, and I didn't even realize this, Maria, until a couple of years ago, that for apportioning representatives, you actually count illegal aliens. So even though illegal aliens theoretically are not supposed to vote, we know sometimes they do, you still count illegal aliens for congressional apportionment. So California has way more House seats than it should because they have such a high population of illegal aliens. So they get rewarded for welcoming illegal aliens into their state, giving them federal benefits, actually asking the taxpayers of states like Ohio to subsidize them. And then those same taxpayers in Ohio and Indiana and elsewhere, they have fewer congressional representatives because of what California has allowed to happen. That's ridiculously unfair. And the only real way to fight back against it is for us to redistrict in some ways as aggressively as these hard blue states have done.
Guys, oh my goodness, this is just a snippet of what is to come, guys. It is an all-out redistricting war right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and people are not holding back, guys. If they want, and what they have done is they've broken the law, the federal law, to allow illegal aliens into the country. They made themselves a sanctuary state. They gave them taxpayer benefits when it came to Medicare and Medicaid and housing and food stamps and all this stuff. And they did this, and you tell me, is it right? Let me know in the comments, is it right to break the law to get more House seats to win and have your way with the law? It makes zero sense, everybody. But I'm so happy because what you're seeing on screen is finally happening. No more of this just calling it out. Lawsuits are happening. Texas AG Paxton has sued to remove 13 Democrats from the House in Texas, and it's going across, and Vance is taking across all the United States. No more free rides for the illegal aliens, for the Democrats who are depending upon their votes in order to get more House seats in local elections as well as a federal level. If you appreciate this, guys, you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. This is what we voted for. Promises made, promises kept. Jim Barbado, thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Jim some love in the chat, guys. This is MAGA winning because I'm telling you, they're not going to hold back. Chris Prez, brother, OG of the channel, 20 True Life News memberships, guys. Show Chris some love in the chat. If you got a free membership, y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for your support, guys. So much good news today. Growing the True Life News family. Check this out.
Democrats tried going nuclear, but it turns out their red button's broken. So they're going with the other N-word, Newsom.
What's happening in the United States of America is not normal. We cannot allow this to be considered normal. Please don't say it's surprising. When you say something is no longer surprising, you normalize it. This is shocking.
But Newsom's a humble guy. He doesn't want to be in front of the camera. He has to be, because only he can save America.
It wasn't our decision to be here. It's a reaction to. We are trying to defend democracy as opposed to see it destroyed district by district.
Defend democracy when you literally put Kamala Harris in with 0 primary into the presidential election. Guys, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you today was going to be a comedy show, but this is hilarious.
They drew first blood.
They
We're
drew first
responding
blood
to this action.
Take it easy, Rambo. Newsom saw JB back ribs swallowing up the spotlight and said, hold on, big fella. Gav was supposed to have a clear shot at 28. He doesn't need any roadblocks. But Newsom wasn't alone. Pelosi, who he's related to through marriage, are tag teaming with the Texas runaways.
Did y'all know
The
that?
Republicans are acting because they have bankruptcy of ideas. They have nothing, no winning ideas to present to the American people, and they cannot defend their actions legitimately. So they're trying to do it.
Did y'all know that Nancy and Newsom were related by marriage? I'm telling you guys, they conspired together. She's from Cali. He's the governor. I promise you, deals were made behind closed doors for both of them.
And bring it illegitimately.
Nancy just called you a rigger. That's not very nice. Gerrymandering's legit. It's in the Constitution. What's illegitimate are show trials, impeachments, coups, cover-ups, hoaxes, and the Chinese funny money. Remember the diamonds? This is Pelosi's biggest event since busting a hip. The Wolf of Washington doesn't just pop her head out just for anything. Trump canceled DEI, trans surgeries, and the Green New Deal, and Nancy didn't say diddly. But a bunch of no-names from Texas skedaddled to Illinois over a few battle lines, and that gets her back in the game? Think about it. Pelosi's a vet. She knows there's a lot at stake. This is a lot bigger than maps and lines in Texas. The way this is escalating, this is about a new census and new districts all over. And for the Democrat Party, this is about survival.
Yes.
The chessboard's flipping, and Queen Nancy sees the pieces flying.
Guys, I'm telling you, the only reason the Democrats have had power over the past 20 years is because of illegal aliens were counted in the census. And now Trump is pushed forward with a new census to be carried out by the Department of Commerce. He is 16-0, guys. Check this screen out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This shows you without a shadow of a doubt that everything that Trump has been pushing forth with America First policies, he has won at the Supreme Court. This is a 16th straight win when it comes to, and this one was coming from removing high top Democrat officials from the Biden administration, from the Obama administration, because they were slowing down the commerce. They were slowing down Trump's administration from pushing forth on making sure that we can grow our GDP. Sweet Kitten, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. I love it. Y'all show Sweet Kitten some love in the chat. And don't forget to show Chris Prez, OG of the channel now, some love in the chat for the gifted memberships. You cannot, this is a completely flawless win, guys. This shows you that what Trump is doing, he's putting America first, but the Democrats have no leg to stand on.
It's not wrong in what we're doing. This is self-defense for our democracy. They have hit out at our democracy.
Oh, she don't even know what to say.
To defend it.
The Queen's not what she used to be. Democrats better think twice before following her into battle. Today, the fight's in Texas, but the war's nationwide. If those runaways had just stayed in Texas and taken the L, this wouldn't have blown up coast to coast. Republicans wouldn't be licking their chops to Jerry the Reds. Now the cat's out of the bag. All the Republicans are doing is fixing the funky numbers.
In fact, we know the 2020 census, the errors were almost always to the detriment of red states. Blue states like Rhode Island.
Do we know that?
We do know that. The Census Bureau's own.
Guys, this is on CNN. That every census was to the detriment of red states and to the advancement of blue states. I want to play this one more time so you can hear it, because even the CNN host can't even believe what she's hearing or what's being allowed to be said. And this just shows you guys how much if we actually had U.S. citizens only voting and only being counted in the census, the GOP would have won the last 3-4 presidencies.
All the Republicans are doing is fixing the funky numbers.
In fact, we know the 2020 census, the errors were almost always to the detriment of red states. Blue states like Rhode Island.
Do we know that?
We do know that. The Census Bureau's own audit of its work has proven that. Blue states like Rhode Island were overcounted. Rhode Island then didn't lose a seat. Red states like Alabama were undercounted.
Why do these miscounts always hurt Republicans? It's time to even the playing field.
Yes.
And boot illegals out of the country and out of the census.
California has way more House seats than it should because they have such a high population of illegal aliens. So they get rewarded for welcoming illegal aliens into their state.
Without juicing the census with illegals, Democrats have no power. Illegals are the engine of the Democrat machine. That's why they scream like toddlers every time a Maryland dad goes adios. They're not protecting families, they're protecting their seats. Now, we have the Supreme Court and usually the Senate. A rigged house is all they have left.
Yep.
They threatened to go nuclear and now want a ceasefire.
I didn't want to take on this fight. I've always followed the rules. Democrats always follow the rules. But when they're willing to do this to subvert our democracy,
serious?
shame on us if we don't stand up. Of course, they can stop. They want to stop this game. They can stop right now, and we'll stand down as well.
Democrats don't follow the rules.
Guys, they never follow the rules. That's why, again, guys, so much breaking news. President Trump has just appointed Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent as acting IRS commissioner. This is massive, massive news, guys, because Scott Bessent is a billionaire. The reason I say that is because you have to have a lot of success to get to that billionaire status, just like Trump. And now he has gone through and he's cleaned up the Treasury big time. And now Trump said, hey, people have been targeted. There's a lot of conservatives that have been targeted. I need you to go in and clean up the IRS and make sure that we are doing right by the American people. Guys, this is massive. Sammy Smith, thank you so much for gifting a True Life News membership. Let's go. Y'all show Sammy Smith some love in the chat, everybody. Such good news today.
Write new ones when they lose. But now Republicans are the ones with the pen, and the pen's mightier than the sword. The Democrat runaways didn't show up to work again today. In Texas, police are going door to door, but no luck. They're staying out of state. Time to hit them where it hurts, their wallets.
Any member absent for the purpose of breaking quorum will no longer have their paycheck or per diem deposited electronically.
Ooh.
Those checks must now be picked up in person on Capitol grounds, effective immediately.
The runaways are stranded out of state without any money. And any assistance they get is considered a bribe under Texas law. They're up Bleeps Creek. Just like the Iranians, Democrats got caught bluffing. Now here comes the bunker buster. We know where they are, in New York with Hochul, in Chicago with baby back ribs, and in California with Greasy and the Wolf. They're goading the Texas Rangers to arrest them. They're dying to get handcuffed so they can call Trump a tyrant. But this is small potatoes. 3 years ago, today, the FBI raided his home and rifled through Melania's underwear. Trump was impeached twice, arrested 4 times, mugshotted, and dragged into an icebox of a courtroom for a show trial in the middle of his campaign. The media tried convincing you he was a criminal. But can you name one crime he committed? No. Democrats thought lawfare would kill him. Instead, it crowned him. Now he's the most powerful man in the world, again, and he hasn't forgotten. For the first time in decades, a Republican president is going on offense. Today, the Justice Department opened a grand jury investigation into Tish James over her fraud case against Trump. The one where she fined him $500 million for taking out a loan that he paid back with interest. Now the tables are turned. Tish is being investigated for violating Trump's constitutional rights. Sources tell Fox the Justice Department believes Tish took Trump to court simply because she didn't like him and made up a crime. She campaigned on arresting him, and she's going to regret it.
There is nothing scarier for a citizen to get a subpoena or find out that they're being investigated by a federal criminal grand jury. It's terrifying, and here's why. Grand jury investigations sweep broadly.
Yes.
They gather terabytes of information, and they're very efficient at going through it. And the problem there for people is that they may be investigating issue number one and then stumble across never before known issue number 2.
In a separate case,
Guys,
Bond.
y'all hear that? So again, there is a full out, if you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, there is a full out combative. We're going to go after everybody, but we're not just going to make stuff up. We're going to find out what the corruption is behind the scenes, and we're going to make things right, and we're going to make sure that only American citizens are put first. Look at this. 7 states most likely to follow Texas in redistricting, guys. You've got Ohio who's going to step in. Ohio's in either, could go either way in the elections, guys. California, they're trying to say that they're going to redistrict, and they know they can get 5 more seats. But I wonder how it's going to be whenever the DOJ goes after them for trying to count more illegal aliens. Florida says that they can get 2 to 5 seats. Indiana says that they can get 2 seats. Here, Missouri says that they can get another seat. New York, they're going to try to go the other way too and grab 3 more blue seats. New Jersey is kind of a half and half. They're actually a +0 because some people in New Jersey, let me know if you're from New Jersey, want to go towards the Republican side. The Democrats say that they can get 2 seats, but so does the Republicans. So with that, guys, we're seeing across the United States, this is how far it's gone. It's not about we the people being served. It's about, okay, how do we make the system right? Because it doesn't matter how the votes that you get. If the system isn't right, you're never going to be able to elect the right people. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. This is massive. This is probably going to happen to every single state in the United States because of what's going on.
He just authorized a special prosecutor to investigate allegations that Tish James committed mortgage fraud and whether Adam Schiff did too. Pencil neck's going through the sharpener. When Trump was staring down the possibility of life in prison, Democrats said no one is above the law. And they never questioned the motivation of the prosecution or whether the allegations were sound. Now suddenly they're worried about weaponization.
The president has made no secret of wanting to seek retribution against his adversaries.
This is certainly something that does not have a good look to it when we talk about the DOJ sort of being used as a weaponization.
This reeks of weaponization. This is very alarming. The FBI should not be used to go after the political opponents of the current administration.
Where were they when Obama was spying on Trump and Biden was arresting him? They were cheering his downfall. To them, those were righteous prosecutions because 86ing Trump preserved the status quo, preserved their power. Both Schiff and Tish publicly called their shot, promising to get Trump by any means. But just like Butler, they missed, and Trump's still standing. Did they really not expect Trump to fight back? He got shot in the head, popped up, and yelled, "Fight, fight, fight." It's his whole brand. It's his whole life.
Let's go.
Now he's doing exactly what he said he would, ripping out the rot and handing the power back to the people. Democrats spent years stealing your money, opening our borders, shipping away jobs, and indoctrinating and operating on kids. They tried wrecking the country and burning down the one guy who promised to get in the way. Well, it backfired. Now, we're 200 days into a historic term. A lot's happened, but the job isn't done. This is the beginning. Trump has to blaze a path of glory for America. And the rascals determined to return us to the old way of doing things aren't going to be tolerated. Democrats don't have any power in Washington. They're divided. They're confused. They're really unpopular. And when you have an opponent who's out on his feet, you knock him down. Democrats are in no position to sue for peace. They started this war, and we'll finish it.
I love it, guys. Such good news. But I want to show you this again, because I'm telling you, you can say anything that you want, but when you literally have people that are on the left, on the Democratic side saying, oh yeah, when we did all the census, it kind of just really benefited the Democrats. This is on CNN. You can't make this stuff up.
One of the big things is it helps decide congressional maps.
Right.
Does this have everything to do with redistricting?
Well, it does. In fact, we know the 2020 census, the errors were almost always to the detriment of red states. Blue states like Rhode Island.
Do we know that?
We do know that. The Census Bureau's own audit of its work has proven that. Blue states like Rhode Island were overcounted. Rhode Island then didn't lose a seat. Red states like Alabama were undercounted. This is just a fact. It wasn't all red-blue, but it was disproportionately red-blue.
One of the big things
it
is
was
it helps
disproportionately always what? Towards the blue states. And that's what bothers me. It's like when it's certain corruption, it's always the blue states. When it's certain stealing slush money, it's overwhelmingly always the blue. And now that this has come out, guys, I'm telling you, because this is going to affect Medicare big time. Doctors are being paid to vaccine. They are. It's a fact. There's nothing about it. But when RFK Jr. says we recently uncovered that more than 36,000 doctors had their Medicare reimbursements altered based upon childhood vaccination rates. That's not medicine, that's coercion. Based upon forcing people to get the vaccine and getting all this stuff, it's not about what is best for the kid. Because I'm telling you this, injecting a baby that was just born with 30, 40, 50 vaccines, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And this is where, again, all this stuff is only coming out because Trump is president. Trump never becomes president. We don't know a dang thing about any of this stuff because it goes back to this guy right here. It goes back to who was controlling the auto pen, who was controlling the Biden administration, the census, the targeting of Trump through all this stuff. Listen to this.
And AutoPen's top aides are getting a grilling. Today, Comer had a date with Biden's confidant, Anita Dunn. Anita had intel on who really wielded the magic wand. The hearing wasn't televised, but Fox caught up with her.
Ms. Dunn, do you think the president was competent to run the country?
What do you think of
Why didn't you tell the American people that he was having memory issues?
What do you think of Jean-Pierre going
Ms. Dunn, do you still think that it was a bad idea to pardon Hunter Biden?
What will you tell the House Oversight Committee today?
What did you think of Hunter's interviews? He called you out by name. What did you think of that
interview? Will you discuss Hunter Biden today?
Biden brain's still haunting the party. And so's their DEI hangover, Mamala. She wrote a book on how to lose in 107 days. Then force-fed Colbert some word salad. Now her merch is cheaper than a 7-Eleven hot dog.
Golly, guys, look at that. 99 cents each. Hats for Kamala Harris, guys. Y'all want to buy some? Let me know. I bet, I don't know. I don't think that they're good quality. No, I'm just saying.
Is not buying.
I think that she wisely chose not to run for governor of California, and I believe this with all my heart. Anybody that had anything to do with 2024, the party wants to move on from that.
Not even tampon turns cargo on. And the Cajun has a history with bisexuals. His words, not mine. Other Democrats, they're risking it all. Like Zoolander. He's building his tribe. Pocahontas already put on the war paint. He also put a ring on AOC. But the Wolf of Washington, she doesn't see a bull. She sees a bear.
Yeah.
Are you ready to give your full-throated endorsement?
I have not participated in mayoral races throughout the country. That's for the people there. That's not for me here. So let them make their own decision about who they want to be their mayor. I don't know him at all. I've never met him, but I congratulate him for winning the nomination.
And then there's Joe.
I'm telling you guys, all this stuff, we bring the receipts, guys, of everything that's happening right now. It's all breaking news because right now, with everything that's happening, no day is off. People don't work Monday through Friday anymore. It's all about what we need to move as quickly as possible. Texas Attorney General Paxton has filed with Texas Supreme Court to declare all 13 Democrat House seats as vacant. Then, not only that, he is suing to remove those 13 Dems from the House. You think it stops right there, guys? Kash Patel has fired another agent this morning. This morning, Walter Giardini, who worked with investigations related to President Trump and Trump allies, has been fired by Kash Patel. No day off for MAGA party, guys. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, this isn't playing around anymore. We don't have enough time to play around. We need to go after them and go after them as hard as we can because you heard them. What did Newsom say? They drew blood first. It's all a big clown show right now because they're going to try to make sure that every single person is going to see that, oh, they're going to try to fight for the people, but yet all they continue to do is put illegals first. Listen to this.
Okay, Mac, is this how she really acts?
This is exactly how she really acts. And those were exact quotes, not from the opposition, not from Republicans, and not from just any Democrats. Those were from her staff talking about her. And she hasn't been in Congress very long. They say she doesn't show up. She just lays around her apartment. She cares more about press than she does representing people. And she's known to yell and lose her mind over small random items. We always in Congress have one or two people like this, and everybody knows who that is. She's the one in this cycle.
What's it like to work with people like this? I mean, she does raise a lot of cash, and she's on TV a lot, but she sounds like a mess.
Look, this is scary because on the Republican side, we have Nancy Mace, the Democrats have Crockett. And they do this because in today's politics, but it's true. If you look at her staff, all turnover, exact same arguments. But what happens is, by going on television is how they raise their money. That's how they raise their money online. I want the elected, the people across this country to look at who shows up to work, who represents you, who's there working the hardest for you, and showing up. That's an important part. And if you just look at how people treat their staff, that will tell you a lot how they treat their constituents.
K-Mac, what was the most diva behavior you witnessed when you were serving? Or just ferociously rude to the staff type behavior?
Well, I watched, there were a couple members, some have passed away now, the exact same thing where the staff had to sit outside the apartment with the car running, and it was just 2 blocks away where I'd walk from my apartment to the Capitol. They would literally get to be able to walk onto the airplane, carry the suitcase, and put it up. And this one member, she was from Texas as well, and she was a Democrat woman, and she got off the plane one time just because she wanted to make another phone call. They closed the door. She was pounding on it, and the pilot literally took her purse, because it was on the plane, put it out the window, and dropped it. And she got banned from flying that airline ever again.
Was it Sheila Jackson Lee?
I think you know who we're talking about.
Guys, I'm telling you. Look, the Democratic Party is in shambles, guys. We're bringing the receipts. Look at this right here, because a lot of people have been asking about Fani Willis because it was Letitia James, Jack Smith, it was Merrick Garland, and Fani Willis, all the people that were trying to target Trump. Now that we found out that Trump's RICO case was created by Bill Barr and Fani Willis, like this stuff, guys, I'm telling you, look at the notes. Like, this is the actual receipts of all the stuff that's coming out. That we 100% did not have true indictments. We did not have true lawfare. It was all lawfare against Trump in a way to target him, put him in jail, and keep him from running for president. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Rita, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Rita some love in the chat, as well as Lily Ignacio, who said the swamp is so deep. Trump is working so hard to get the job done before his term ends. Our president needs us patriots for our support. Thank you, Joel. Let's go. Y'all show Lily some love in the chat, as well as B1 Sly One, who said, let's help some vets this month, brother. America First is back. I love it, guys. Show B1 Sly One some love in the chat. All this stuff that's just happened, I just showed you guys when it comes to the Supreme Court. Trump is 16-0. No losses right now at the Supreme Court level. Massive, massive wins. And what does this tell us? That everything that the Biden administration, not the Biden, but all that the Democrats have been doing is all to stall Trump. Watch this.
Probably can't say definitively that she didn't do anything wrong, because we know what she did and conspired to do against President Trump. Someone who tracked that from the beginning, the get-go of all of it, was, of course, none other than the wonderful Julie Kelly, who joins us now. Julie, we got a few minutes before we got to jump to break, but I'm just curious your sort of assessment, not just of that clip, but more broadly, the DOJ grand jury investigation.
I mean, kudos to Attorney General Pam Bondi and, of course, our friend Ed Martin, who has been tasked with pursuing these investigations into both Tish James and Adam Schiff for mortgage fraud. But I have to say, Natalie, after covering the January 6th proceedings and the two criminal investigations into Donald Trump, which resulted in those two unprecedented federal indictments by special counsel Jack Smith, where they dragged dozens and dozens of Trump associates, family members, White House aides, attorneys, Vice President Mike Pence in front of a D.C. grand jury to testify about the president allegedly trying to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Now, all of a sudden, the legal experts and talking heads are just gobsmacked that this can work both ways and that there is serious potential legal liability for Letitia James, Adam Schiff, and whoever else this Trump DOJ decides to go after.
And I'm curious, this is sort of the first, I think, through this approach, right, the grand jury investigation. Where else would you recommend that they go after this? Or would you do it sort of piece by piece? Or would you just throw a wide net, I guess, kind of like the Democrats did?
Well, we do know also that Pam Bondi this week tasked a federal prosecutor with bringing Russiagate hoax evidence to a grand jury. What's interesting, and I just read a piece as I'm trying to catch up on this development today, it looks like they are pursuing grand juries in Maryland and Virginia, which means, Natalie, that the DOJ is doing whatever they can to avoid presenting these investigations or pursuing prosecutions in the D.C. District Courthouse, which, as you know, and we've talked about for years, is really the center of the rot of our legal and judicial system. The politicization all originates right there in that D.C. courthouse. We saw what happened to Jeb Bossberg today. I'm sure we'll talk about it on the other side here. But that, if true, that they are pursuing grand juries outside of D.C. and Maryland and Virginia, that's also an extremely interesting development today as well.
Guys, do y'all hear this? Again, this is massive, massive news. Doing it in Maryland and Virginia, making sure that we're not going to lose when it comes to corrupt judges, that there will be a fair assessment when it comes to these court cases, guys. Because again, it's all about the judge. The judge can go either way, but we want an unbiased judge. We want people who are actually going to follow the law so that this can keep happening, guys. This winning can keep happening. Want to say thank you so much, Jeffrey Hatt, for the super chat. Let's go, brother. Show Jeffrey some love in the chat. So let's go, True Life News family. Hit the like button. Guys, y'all are so awesome. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, you are hearing the details, guys. We're showing you things that literally has been released this morning over where all these grand juries are going to happen. Maryland, Virginia, making sure to stay out of D.C. because there's too much corruptness there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Julie, if you can hang with us through the break, I guess you're already ahead of me. I want to link this. Obviously, the courts, 9 times out of 10, the news is bad, but every now and then you see a rogue radical. They say, oh, Bush appointed, or, seldom right wing, but we know they are all very, very far. They're not even judges, they're activists. We shouldn't even call them that. We shouldn't afford them that honor and that privilege. But Julie, if you can hang with us, we're going to get into the overturn of I think a very infamous Boasberg decision having to do with, something that it shouldn't be that controversial, but that is, of course, deporting criminal illegal aliens to, frankly, I would argue, whatever country, whatever hellhole those scum of the earth people belong in. Absolutely wild. I guess the hunters have become the hunted. We'll keep saying that. We'll be ready. Kelly, Julia, if you can walk the audience through what happened, Boasberg's, like I was saying, very infamous decision regarding the Alien Enemies Act, the deportations, the flights, and how it was actually struck down.
Well, actually, what was reversed today, Natalie, was his contempt order against the Trump administration. So what Boasberg did in that infamous hearing on March 15th in that very first Alien Enemies Act lawsuit is he set a contempt trap for the Trump Department of Justice. And ever since that day forward, he pursued it, claiming that the Trump Department of Justice and his administration defied an order, an oral order, he calls it, to return 2 planes that had already departed U.S. airspace were carrying these Alien Enemies Act subjects from detention centers in Texas to El Salvador. Jeb Boasberg egregiously ordering the return of U.S. planes carrying illegal immigrants has outside of the purview of the judicial branch, ordering them returned. Not only did the Supreme Court vacate his order, not that particular, that order, but also said he doesn't have jurisdiction over this because the plaintiffs in the case were in Texas. They weren't in Washington. Didn't matter. What Boasberg did after that was berate and harass and harangue DOJ attorneys in his courtroom. And I was there in April when he did it again, claiming that by defying that order to return the planes, they were in contempt of court. What the D.C. Appellate Court did today, 2-1 decision, 2 Trump judges, 1 Obama appointed judge, was vacate his contempt findings. And not only did they vacate his contempt findings, Natalie, they issued a writ of mandamus, which is very unusual for judges to do, basically saying either do your job or don't do your job. And so they said because a particular Naomi Rao, a Trump appointed judge on that panel, just called this an egregious abuse of power and discretion by Jeb Boasberg, that there was no evidence, first of all, that the entire order that he issued was overturned by the Supreme Court. And number 2, the contempt findings were weak at best, and he didn't have any basis for claiming that they had defied that order. So this is really another stunning development, more proof, Natalie, of this hyper-partisan judge. Who is the chief judge of the D.C. District Court, by the way. He's not just a regular judge on the bench. He is extremely powerful. And this is why, as I said earlier, the Trump administration would have an extremely difficult time pursuing any grand jury proceedings in D.C. courthouse because he would oversee those as the chief judge. So now you have Judge Boasberg being smacked down by the Supreme Court twice, the appellate court again today. They also may issue another, they're looking at something else that Boasberg did that might have violated local court rules early on in this process. So this guy is completely out of control. But Natalie, as you know, we talked about, these DC judges do not care if they're overturned by the Supreme Court, by their colleagues on the DC Appellate Court. They are going to do whatever they can to help shape this narrative that the Trump administration is defying court orders and acting outside of the scope of whatever these courts and judges tell them to do. And so that is what Jeb Boasberg tried to do. And luckily, the D.C. Appellate Court
has overturned it, guys. That is so massive. Like, again, it's the D.C. is so corrupt so infiltrated. Remember, we showed you on this channel, guys, that when it came to the voting, 92% voted for Kamala Harris in the 2024 election of D.C. That just shows you 92% of D.C. how infiltrated. It's just a pure blue piece of property in the United States, guys. When it comes to everybody voting there, they're always going to vote Democrat, and especially the judges are going to overwhelmingly lean towards going against Trump. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Digging with Dawn, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, love this channel. We appreciate you. Y'all show Digging with Dawn some love in the chat, as well as Chip Trap. Said, super chat challenge. $5 for every Democrat that pleads the fifth. I love it. Y'all show Chip some love in the chat, guys. Thank y'all so much for your support. And don't forget to show Chris Prez some love for gifting 20 True Life News memberships. Guys, this is all about exposing the corruption. And just like you're seeing on the screen, we have a new acting commissioner of the IRS. And this is somebody that Trump is just giving so much authority over. He's done so much with the trade. He's done so much with the Treasury. And what is it doing? It's bringing more money back into the fold for America's, guys. Listen to this, because this is huge.
President Trump is wasting no time putting his stamp on the Federal Reserve, the most powerful economic institution in the country, and perhaps the most unaccountable. Welcome to the Big Money Show. I'm Jackie D'Angelis. Joining me are my co-hosts Steve Forbes, Jerry's critic, even co-authoring a 24-page plan to put the Fed under more presidential oversight. That means no more unelected bankers running the economy without answering to the voters.
Let's
go. But that's only the beginning. Inside the West Wing, Christopher Waller is reportedly the favorite to replace Jerome Powell as Fed chair. Waller just authored a dissent against Powell's decision to leave rates unchanged. He's known for moving policy based on forecasting, which seems like a no-brainer to small businesses, private sector employees, basically anyone who isn't in the government.
I think a big part of it was somewhat a lack of logic, because on one side they were saying, okay, we need to weight risk management. Then on the other side, they lowered their economic projections for the year. So traditionally, when economic projections go down, interest rates go down.
So President Trump isn't just talking about reshaping the economy. He's moving to reshape the institution that runs it. And for the first time in years, the Fed might have to answer to someone other than itself. And all this news today, Adam Johnson, moving markets to the upside. We had a little bit of a sell-off on our hands yesterday. So investors seem to like that there is change coming at the Fed.
Well, I think investors want lower rates, and the change that we're talking about would certainly lay the way for lower rates. What's interesting about President Trump is he has a knack for, shall we say, putting his imprint on everything. And the Fed is the latest target of said imprint. And these two candidates are very pro-Trump, I should point out. And they will certainly, I think, take their marching orders. The downside to that is one of the things that I think makes the Fed unique is its independence. And you don't necessarily want the chairman of the Federal Reserve to effectively be yet another member of the cabinet. So there is some debate to be had around that. But the market does like the fact that if, in fact, President Trump's two candidates eventually do come into the Fed, that likely means lower rates.
Okay, I'll give you that it's a little murky. But Steve Forbes, we had some trouble with Jerome Powell in that he acted very political. He called inflation transitory and did nothing about it, and we saw inflation spike to 9%. That was a clear wrong. It was a miss, and he was trying to help Joe Biden out at the time, saying, oh, this is not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Well, we all paid the price for that. Then he cut rates before the election, which seemed a little suspect at the time. And now he's not cutting rates simply because the president is calling on him to, and he uses the tariff excuse as the potential black swan that is going to, spike inflation again.
Well, tariff is a tax. And when Joe Biden was raising taxes, Jerome Powell did not say, oh, this is going to hurt prices. This is going to put a burden on the economy. Now suddenly he's worried about taxes. So, yes, there is a political element there. And I think Jerome Powell also is going to make Donald Trump's life a little more difficult with the Fed by not leaving the Fed when he's replaced next year. He's got 1 more year as a board governor, and he'll stick around just to stick it to the president. So this is a good...
Guys, what I love is that I just want to show you a reminder that whenever Trump's reciprocal tariffs happen on August 1st, this was from the White House. August 1st, reciprocal tariffs go into effect. Guess what? Stock market is still up. Economy still doing great. The inflation, nothing has spiked. Nothing has changed. Inflation is still down. So all this just 100% political bias towards Trump, even when it comes to the interest rates. He's hurting the American people because he's always putting it on the tariffs. Oh, it's the tariffs. Nothing has happened. And yet you still keep their interest rates high, meaning you don't truly care because it didn't matter what happened under Biden. You lowered the interest rates, especially before the election. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this right here, guys, again, we have so much political bias from these people in these unelected positions that just control the entire United States. The entire United States. Lay Lewis, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, I vote for solitary confinement for Obama, Kamala, Letitia, Hillary, Jill, and whoever else qualifies for that lovely sentence. Y'all show Lay some love in the chat. We need to see some dang arrest. I agree. Thank you so much, Denise Clark, custom art, OG of the channel. I love it. Said, just checking in on my way to work. Wanted to say hi and tell everyone to have a great day. Denise, we appreciate and love you. Have a great day. Guys, show Denise some love in the chat. Thank you so much for your support. Guys, what we are doing is just dropping these bombshells that it doesn't matter what these Democrats do. The American people are starting to see that Trump is all America first.
Moved by the president in the sense of, but I think we should not focus on just the operating procedures. For instance, Steve Barron wants an 8-year term for governors, replaceable by the president, stuff like that. Is what is the model for the Federal Reserve? What is the philosophy by which it operates? And it operates on the theory that prosperity causes inflation. It has a bias against growth.
Wow.
And that has to change. What it should focus on and what it can control is the value of the dollar, the stability of the dollar. Leave the rest to Congress and other things. You focus on the dollar and stick to your knitting.
Right.
And that's what the Fed has not done, and that's why we have the situation today and the uncertainty we have today. Look at the state of the dollar. It's weak. Imagine the dollar being weak against the euro, against the yen, which Japan has national debt twice ours proportionately. What's going on?
Yeah. And also, David, you can argue we need the growth. The growth will be the engine of this economy. Look, we're not handing out stimulus checks like Joe Biden was, which really was part of the problem. And then all the excessive spending that he did through a number of bills that the country really just didn't need. If people are working, corporations are chugging along and they're being productive and the growth is there, there will be increased spending, but it won't be like that scenario that I just described.
Well, exactly. But I think Steve put his finger on the problem, which is that the central bank's primary role is as a bank. It wants to make sure that the money that is invested in the bank, that is the sweat, blood, and tears of the American taxpayer, is safe. That is, the money you earn today is worth the same tomorrow or even next year, or when you're ready to send your kids to college. The fact that that bank has been stolen so many times by politicians and central bankers that were trying to be polite to politicians by doing the wrong thing needs to be nailed down. The problem is it has two mandates. One is to maintain the stability of the dollar. Another one that was added in the 1970s is to deal with unemployment. That is much more of a political decision than it is a pure economic central bank decision.
But but a central bank that knows what it's doing, which this one does not, would make the point that a stable currency is the way you get full employment, the way you get a prosperous economy, not one that acts like a yo-yo.
There is a little housekeeping to consider, though, whether Myron, I guess is how he pronounces it, Stephen Myron, can be confirmed before the Fed's September 17th decision. That's a question up to Senator Thune and whether he's able to herd these cats in the Senate and make it happen. Because if we go through another meeting of the Federal Reserve without them dealing with this rate insanity that we have going on right now, and Powell continues to do nothing, we're in trouble. The economy's in trouble.
The market's fully expecting to see a 25 basis point cut in September and then subsequent cuts. And I do believe if it doesn't get one or some of those cuts, it will throw a fit. Jerry Willis.
Guys, that's going to be big. And I just want to say this too, that what we're seeing from the feds when it comes to the interest rates, all this stuff that's happening, it's all being controlled by people. This is like with the economy going like it is, with everybody voting for Trump, pushing Trump on the tariffs, supporting Trump on what he's doing for the tariff revenue, all this stuff, it's all being controlled by people that just want to see what? They want to see Trump lose. They want to see Americans lose. When you look at this chart, guys, and we show you stuff across the board, that when the tariff revenue that's coming in for the United States now is bigger than it's ever been. And when you see that all these places are reporting on this right here, this is massive. Oh, come on. U.S. expects $50 billion in a month in tariff revenue from U.S. Commerce Chief Lutnick. This is massive. Like, this is brand new money coming into the United States. We didn't have it before. It's something that, again, what it can be used for. Trump has talked about the Doge dividend checks, the tariff rebate checks. We've talked about paying down the national debt. We've talked about going through and actually revising a lot of how even Social Security is arranged because of this new additional money. And then the bigger that the economy grows, the more that the number grows. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because again, the more that this starts to take hold, the more that everybody's going to realize how great of a businessman Trump is and how much of this money was sitting on the table for years, but yet because of political elitists, lobbyists, and people that were getting paid off in Washington, we never took advantage of it. Because remember, Trump's a billionaire. He doesn't need the money from these foreign entities and lobbyists. He's got enough money. But how many times do we see it where people go into Congress and they're broke as a joke, ain't got nothing to their name? They leave a decade later and they've got $15, $20, $30 million, yet they only get paid $175,000 a year. Like this, it makes no sense. Barbara Johnson, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Barbara some love in the chat, as well as George Masalis. Thank you so much, brother. Said, God bless our president. Let's go. Every step that we take towards this, guys, puts us closer to doing what? Getting to a fiscally sound budget, but also making sure that we are putting America first, because every single one of these pieces, guys, matters. Listen to this.
President Trump's historic reciprocal tariffs kicking in at midnight, marking the biggest shift in the global economy in nearly a century. The president posted on Truth Social this morning, quote, tariffs are flowing into the USA at levels not thought even possible. The president also announcing a 50% tariff on exports from India beginning August 27th because of the country's continued purchase of Russian oil. President Trump criticizing India for ignoring the Ukraine conflict as New Delhi defends its energy needs, saying it's ready to pay a heavy price and that imports of oil will not stop. The White House reviewing similar penalties on other countries still buying Russian energy. Joining me now is U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
Let's go.
Mr. Secretary, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for spending the time.
Oh, it's great fun to be with you, Maria.
And I know you've talked about non-tariff barriers in the past as the president is looking at tariffs as a way to get countries to come to the middle and, in fact, change certain ways. Will the president consider that kind of tariff retaliation on China as well if it continues to buy Russian oil?
I think the president said yesterday everything's on the table. You know, he thinks of his role as the peacemaker in the world and the creator of opportunity for America, and he's going to use all the tools in his toolbox to use it, and he hasn't ruled anything out.
So the president signaled progress on a China deal, Secretary, this 90-day pause on tariffs set to expire August 12th. The president said he's getting very close to extending that trade truce, willing to meet with Xi Jinping this year if a deal is reached. Do you expect that deadline to be extended?
I do. I think we're going to leave that to the trade team and to the president to make those decisions. But it feels like likely that they're going to come to an agreement and extend that for another 90 days. But I'll leave it to that team.
I mean, it's incredible to me that you all are doing these negotiations with what we know is a bad actor. But I understand that you don't have much choice. We are very tied to the Chinese economy with so many supply chains there. 2 Chinese nationals charged in California for illegally shipping NVIDIA AI chips to China. They're accused of moving millions of dollars worth of cutting-edge H100 chips through Malaysia and Singapore in an effort to dodge U.S. export controls. Mr. Secretary, what is the plan to stop China from going around all of the tariffs and getting their products through other markets secretly?
Well, the key is, you know, right now, semiconductors are primarily, like 90% of them are made in Taiwan. So yesterday was an epic day, right? The president over the last 3 days has met with the leaders of, or spoken to the leaders of all of the tech companies. He had Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, Tim Cook yesterday, both in his office talking, and he set tariffs to bring semiconductor manufacturing to America. It was beautiful to watch the president and his team talk to all the tech companies, get all of their input to set it right. And what he said was he won't charge tariffs while you're building in the country. But if you're not building in the country, 100% tariffs. So his objective is to get semiconductor manufacturing done here of our best technology. And that way we can control it the best. Yeah. That's the strategy.
Guys, and you know what I love about the guy that you're seeing on screen? A lot of people don't know this, but this guy, his net worth is $3.4 billion. Again, one of the most successful people on earth, because there's not that many billionaires, and this is part of Trump's team. A guy, a successful businessman that is looking at the United States and saying, okay, the United States blessed me. I was able to become this billionaire through the United States. Now I'm going to make sure that everything that's beautiful about the United States in terms of commerce and business continues to stay relevant. And that's what I love is what you're hearing now. It's all about the right strategy, the right people. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, this is what I love is that Trump has so many of these super successful people in the business world, in the private sector that are helping to shape up the government like a business. Because guess what? If a business doesn't do good, it fails. It goes bankrupt. And it fails. It becomes non-existent. The government, whenever it fails, what do? They tax us, we the people, more. And that's what I love about what Trump is doing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
It's great for America, and President Trump is on it.
And you're right, Secretary. I mean, look at how we're so reliant. You know, you just said it, 90% of the advanced semiconductor chips, these are chips we use in the military, made in Taiwan. The president threatened that 100% tariff on all chip imports in this push to get these companies to bring their supply chains here. But that takes time. Do you think the president will give some concessions to some of these companies and say, look, if I know that you're building a supply chain in the U.S., if I know that you're at least starting the process, because how long does it take to build a supply chain and a manufacturing plant in America? A couple of years, right?
Yeah, years.
You got it exactly right. So what the president said is if you commit to build in America during his term, and if you file it with the Commerce Department, and if your auditor oversees you building it all the way through, then he will allow you to import your chips while you're building without a tariff. But you have to be confirmed and overseen building in America. And what that's going to bring is $1 trillion of semiconductor build in America launched by Donald Trump yesterday. I mean, talk about having fun in the Oval Office. I mean, this is historical.
It's incredible. It's next level. I mean, look, the pictures of the president with Tim Cook yesterday as Apple, announced this investment of $100 billion. The president highlighted Apple as an example of a company that would be spared significant levies after, they made that announcement of $100 billion investment in the U.S. So tell us about that in terms of what you're expecting. The tariff plan expected to be formally unveiled next week. In terms of the chip companies, are you expecting more investment? How much investment has come in so far?
Guys, and I want to show you too, because again, there's a lot of breaking news that's going on that we literally try to show you all the receipts of what's happening behind the scenes that shows that already Trump is adding to Americans' pockets compared to what Biden did. This is massive, guys. Michael Powell, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Show Michael some love in the chat, as well as Pepper Mom 8827. Thank you so much for the super chat. Show Pepper Mom some love in the chat. Guys, Michael Powell, show some big love to Michael. Guys, thank y'all so much for your support. We can't thank you enough. Y'all are awesome. Michael Powell, Pepper Mom, and Pamela Stevens, thank you so much. Said, love the content. Keep up the good work. We are here to serve you. Guys, thank you so much for your support. This is awesome what I'm about to show you because, again, too, it's real what's happening. People are feeling it. Check this out.
I called the president because I had some very good news from some new data that we've been able to put together that no one has ever seen before, and I'll just very quickly go through these. So I was telling the president that he did the right thing in calling for a new head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because this shows that over the last 2 years of the Biden administration, the BLS overestimated job creation by 1.5 million jobs. Mr. President, that's a gigantic error. And I don't know if I'm not.
It might not have been an error. That's the bad part. If it was an error, it would be one thing. I don't think it's an error. I think they did it purposely.
Whether that, you may well be right, but even if it wasn't purposefully, it's incompetence.
Right.
Okay. So 1.5 million jobs overestimated. We have access to the. Some data that no one else does on what has happened month by month with median household income. This is based on unpublished Census Bureau data. It will be released sometime in the next 6 months, but we get an advanced look at it. And so I was telling the president in his first 5 months in office, starting in January through the end of June, the average median household income adjusted for inflation for the average family in America is already up $1,174. That's an
incredible number. Yeah. Just came out.
Just came out. So that's a giant gain.
And if I would have said this, nobody would have believed it. There's your number.
Let's go.
Well. So the next one compares, we finally have the 2024 data on what happened with real family income in the United States. And so what I did was I compared the record in Donald Trump's first term with the Joe Biden first term. And you can see that, by the way, these dotted lines here, Mr. President, that's COVID. So if it had not been for COVID, these numbers would have been substantially better. But even taking account President Trump's last year in 2020, we saw a $6,400 real after inflation gain in income for the average family. And that compares with Joe Biden, which was a measly $551. So, Mr. President, you gain 10 times more income for the average family than Joe Biden. It's because of your policies.
And that's taken into consideration COVID, which a lot of times you don't have to do that. But I'm very glad you did.
We're almost 8,000 until.
Look at that number.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we looked at, which families did the best. And we have data from the Census Bureau that shows by income percentage. So the 25th percentile is the lowest income, 75th percentile is the highest income. And what I find fascinating about this, Mr. President, is every income group did better. The red is President Trump, the blue is President Biden. Every single income group did better under President Trump. But what's really amazing is look what happened under Biden. The lowest income group lost income under Biden. They were poor 4 years after Biden's presidency. No gain virtually whatsoever for the middle class. And the rich was the only group that did better under Biden, which is ironic because Biden keeps saying he was trying to get rid of income inequality. He made income inequality worse, not better. It was President Trump that reduced income inequality.
These numbers just came out, by the way.
Yep. And then finally,
wow, guys, that's massive.
These are the numbers just I just showed you in percentage terms. Mr. President, these are the numbers in dollar terms. So even the lowest income 25th percent gained about $4,000 in income. That's a lot for a lower income family. $6,400 for the middle class and almost $10,000 for the richest. So you can see every income group did better under Trump than Biden by a wide margin. That's the story.
Wow, guys. If that's not winning, I don't know what is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you appreciate this, guys. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Guys, if you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want to serve you every day with the top news. We're going to show you things you don't see on mainstream media. We show you the receipts, guys. So much is going on, and we just want to make sure you have a full context of what is breaking news, what's going on, so that you see all the things that are happening. There's so much news out there, and we don't want to do any propaganda stuff. We just want to put America first and bring the America first news, and we want to make sure you know the truth. Thomas Brewer, thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Thomas some love in the chat, as well as Ty Matt Chong for his support with being a member of the channel. I love it. Guys, y'all are so amazing. Thank you so much to all of our members of the channel, to those that give a super chat donation. Remember, on the 22nd, this guy right here is donating live on stream to a local charity. We switch it up every month. One month we do to like homeless veterans. The next month we do to children's homes, orphanages, things like that. And we try to give back, and that's what I want this channel to be known for. And it makes me so happy because when I look at what we are able to give every single month, and it's growing, that I couldn't do this without you guys. Like, we literally are partnered together, and we're doing so much amazing giving, changing lives. And I believe that if you that's a duty. If you can, you should. And with the influence and the growth of this channel, we should be doing that. And we're going to continue doing that, guys. We will be known one day when this community we're interviewing presidents and senators and representatives. And we're going to tell them, hey, make a pledge, join, give to the channel so that we can continue growing our giving. We're going to be giving millions of dollars away to charities, local charities that most of the money goes to the actual people that we're trying to help. We don't want to give it to anywhere it's like the dang federal government, where 85 or 90 cents of every single dollar stays with bureaucrats. We don't believe in that crap. But I want to give some special love today to Chris Prez for gifting 20, that's two of these, 20 True Life News memberships, guys. Show Chris Prez some love in the chat. Jim Barbado, Denise Clark Custom Art. Show Denise some love in the chat. Show Michael Powell some love in the chat. Guys, y'all are so awesome. Thank you so much, Sweet Kitten, Pretty Indy, Sammy Smith, Rita her COG, Lily Ignacio, B1 Sly One. Thank you so much, Jeffrey Hatt, Digging It with Dawn, Chip Trap, Lay Lewis, Barbara Johnson, George Masalis. Thank you so much, Pepper Mom, Pamela Stevens, Thomas Brewer, thank you so much, brother. Ty Matt Chong, NPCs Unite, said thanks for the update. Y'all show NPCs some love in the chat. Guys, y'all are so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing our videos, for helping us grow this channel, hitting that like button. It really helps the channel with the algorithms and all that work. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.